beautiful one, welcome home. Can you believe it's episode 40 already? That's amazing. Started this little journey in April and here we are. Today we're going to talk about choices and change and transformation and the often complex cloud of ego patterns and emotions and intuition that accompany them. Plus I have some big news today. Alright, let's get started. Intro. Wow, there's a whole lot of change going on in my life. My mom and I had a really good conversation the other day about what's going on between us and living together and how this is working and how we're feeling. And it turns out neither one of us is enjoying the situation, even though both of us wish that we were. We both find that we're just both so vastly different that we're both having to constantly work to meet a middle ground, which is leaving us both feeling compromised and unfulfilled. So, even though I wish that I could be with my mom and that we could create a wonderful space together, I'm going to be moving on. I'm going to be hitting the road again. I'm going to be building out and fixing up the van and finishing up a lot of the other things around the house that my mother would like to get done before I leave. And then I'm going to be heading out. I don't know where. I'll probably be leaving around mid-November or so. I'm not sure where I'm going first or exactly what the journey is going to look like. It's very, very, very unknown at this point. I'm having a lot of conflicting emotions and ego patterns arise around this whole situation, around not wanting to leave my mom, not wanting to let her down, really wanting to be with family even though we aren't getting out of it what we wish we were. A lot of fear is rising up about the unknown, about heading out into the world again, about stepping back into a space of lack of stability. There are certain aspects of being in a house that I've really enjoyed over the last several months, but I'm also thrilled with the idea of hitting the road again, seeing something new every morning if I want to, meeting new people, being out in nature in the woods and the mountains completely away from people at times, going to hot springs, and deeper exploring places that I haven't really had a chance to do, like going deep into the mountains in Colorado or the desert in Utah. It's going to be an amazing experience, and it's still completely freaking me out at the same time. And then there's the whole van versus the bus thing. I have so many emotions and feelings of fear and panic and things arising about not moving back into the bus. But every time I look at it, I see it just doesn't make sense right now. It would cost so much to repair it. And even if I could come up with that much money, then I'm going to be in a complete bind if it breaks down again. It's got a way less reliable engine in it than the van does. And the van gets much better miles per gallon, which will be good for my pocketbook and the environment. And I can run biodiesel in this older vehicle without fear of messing anything up. I'm feeling slightly overwhelmed with everything that still needs to be done around the house here before I leave, and the prospect of building out the van, even though it's going to be so glorious and beautiful when I'm done. And on top of it all, there's that super secret climate change project I've mentioned a couple of times that I've had simmering on a back burner. It's really asking for a huge commitment from me, and it's slightly terrifying. It would require me really stepping up and team building and fundraising and doing enormous amounts of work. But I feel like the alternative would be to feel like I hadn't done enough for the world. I'm sure that it will get done because it needs to, but I've got to move through this giant transition phase first. So yeah, choices and transformation and everything that comes up as a result of it. It can be super intense even though what you're being asked to do or choosing to do feels like it's exactly right for you. Our mind is so complex and our ego patterns play such games with us, pulling us one way and then the next, pretending they're our intuition, pretending they're our logic. And it takes a lot of work to be able to be still within the middle of that storm, allow it to rage around you, and still move from a place of peace and intuition and wholeness and light. I, of course, am finding that meditation is the giant key for me through this experience. And I'm reminded through this experience of how my ego patterns have led me crazy directions in the past, filling my body-mind with emotions, desires, fears, all to drive me a particular direction. And the ego doesn't really care what direction that is, as long as there's lots of drama and emotions around the experience. It's fascinating because I love change. I'm devoted to change. I worship change. But at the same time, my entire life since I was a child, great change has always completely freaked me out, which is probably one of the reasons why I seek it out so much, so that my ego will get a chance to be exposed and potentially crack open a bit more. On the cool side of this all, the van's going to be really amazing. I've got some beautiful ideas of how I'm going to build it out. I'm going to create the high top out of wood. I'm going to put my bed up in there in the loft, leaving lots of living space for me down below. And there'll still be a large space, probably like 5 foot by 5 foot square, where I can stand up. I'm going to put a huge window in the front of the high top, leaning back, allowing a lot of light into the van and acting as a skylight for me to be able to see the stars at night. I'm going to complete the entire interior with this really beautiful blonde birch plywood that is formaldehyde free and doesn't off-gas toxic poisons like most plywood does. I'm going to have a little greenhouse space for plants and herbs. I'm going to get a nice beautiful rug, and I've got a nice rug heater that goes underneath that. There's going to be lots of storage for my clothes and my food and my camera equipment. And I'm going to have a bumpin' stereo and my DJ equipment with me, of course. I'm going to pull my solar batteries out of the bus so that I can utilize them. I'm going to get a new solar panel to go on the roof of the van. And then there's going to be a really large section on the roof that's going to be a rooftop patio area where I'll be able to climb up on top of the van and chill in my camping chair. I'm going to fix it so the kiddies can climb up into the loft whenever they want to, or climb up on top of the van whenever they want to. And I'm considering getting one of those little micro wood stoves to heat the van with. I've been using a propane heater for a really long time, but I really don't want to burn a fuel anymore. Just got to do some research and see if that's going to be practical or not. So how does change and transformation affect you and your body-mind? What kind of changes are you going through right now? How are you handling it? Be sure and let me know in the comments below. Also, be sure and like this video if you do, so others will see it, and be sure and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. I'd love to have you as a part of my YouTube family. As always, I'm extremely grateful for you tuning in. I love you very, very much, and I hope you're having a beautiful day. Remember, something wonderful is going to happen today. Peace.